Oh, nice swirl on that thing.
Yeah, I saw him eat it just below the surface too. So. Morning folks, out on the water this morning with Declan Williams. We've got some pretty average weather, but worse weather coming. So we've got out here to make the most of it and get stuck into a few fish on soft plastics. Stay tuned, loads of tips and techniques for fishing soft plastics in your local river and estuary.
Mr. Fish.
On. All right, we've got a fair breeze blowing today, so don't forget to use the wind to your advantage if you can. We're fishing nice and light, 1/8 ounce jig heads on our 2.5 inch plastics, and we're using that wind to throw a big long cast on the flat, allowing us to cover plenty of water, not spook the fish in the shallows here where we're fishing, and hopefully get hooked up to a few. Let's get out there. Yep.
There we go.
On the pause. Just a bit of a shake and a pause. Big long cast, shaky retrieve. We're not fishing real deep, so we're just keeping it up, keeping that rod tip shaking. Not a big brim, but something to warm us up. So there we go, first fish of the morning. We're drifting across a flat. Hopefully a few better brim up on this flat, and you never know what else might be up here feeding on that dropping tide. Hopefully a couple of other species in amongst them as well. So just fishing a 2.5 inch prawn there. The prawns are running at the moment, so it's a good place to start. Match the hatch, as they say, match what the fish are feeding on. So we'll keep flicking around, see if we can find his big brother. All right, so wind behind us, 1/8 ounce head on that 2.5 inch prawns, allows us a big long cast with the wind, and I can just fan it around to cover a bit of water, and then I'm just fishing it with a shaky retrieve, giving it a bit of a pause, and that's when that fish hit it on that last retrieve, was just give it a few shakes, pause, so I'm not actually even getting to the bottom. I'm just sort of hovering it in that mid-water, and the fish are hunting across this flat. There's a fair bit of tide pushing out, so they don't have a lot of time to look at it or think about it, so they're just smashing it as we retrieve it across that flat. Round about sort of 0.8 to 1.2 metres of water I love for this type of fishing. Oh, get on it, mate, get on it.
I've got a cast where Justin is.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go, that was a bit better.
Must be a few fish down that way.
Yeah, you can just back us out a bit, Tex, if you want. Change the line, eh?
What have we got? Another nice brimbo?
I tell you what, he punched above his weight. He's all right. Oh, he's all right. He scoffed that prawn. Houdini colour. It's a nice natural colour, but it's also got a bit of UV pop to it. So I know at the moment the guys are throwing the cast nets around, so there's plenty of prawns around, so worth throwing a prawn. But another tip when you are fishing, Declan and I are fishing together, so we're fishing different presentations. We're trying to what we call crack a pattern, which is another tip. If you've got 2 or 3 people in the boat, you may as well mix up your presentations, fish some different stuff, see if you can crack a pattern in terms of retrieve, also in terms of the presentation that you're fishing. So prawn's got a couple so far, but I'm pretty sure it won't be long and Deck will be hooked up on his favourite curltail. There we go, he was almost on one then. So I'll pop this jig head out, I'll send him back. And the jig head that I'm fishing here, you can see it's a beautiful painted head. So that's the HeadlockZ Finesse UV. That's in the bloodworm color, which I love to pair with these plastics. Gives it a really natural presentation. This has got UV pop built into it, and we've also got a bit of UV in that plastic as well, which is perfect in this low light and dirty water. Righto. Whoa, that rain's getting closer to us.
I think it might just push past us because it's going that way. There we go.
It's amazing how often that happens when you just give it that bit of a pause and the fish just drills it. So he was probably following it. I had a couple little taps, then gave it that pause, let it sink down in the water column a little bit, and that brim's just drilled it. Smashed on the pause. Just average sort of flat size brim. But good fun, put a bend in the rod. We're just fishing a light spin gear, 1 to 3 kilo, 7-foot black Mamba. And I've got that little Inspira, Okuma Inspira ISX, beautiful smooth reel for fishing this Finesse plastic presentation up on the flat. So pop him out and send him back with his mates. All right, see you, buddy. I've actually caught those couple of fish now, so I'll change this up and add a bit of scent to it. So I know, Deck, you love your shrimp.
Love shrimp scent.
In that ProCure Super Gel. I've got some shrimp there. I'm running my favourite sardine pilchard at the moment, which is a good one. Definitely helps in this situation where we're fishing fast, we're covering water quickly, the fish are moving around. You want to give them any sort of incentive to have a few more cracks at your plastic so you can get that hook up. There he is, and he's got a bit of grunt about him.
There we go. Took a little while to get that hook set, but he's a nice little fish. Good little run there to begin with. What do we got? Nice little grunter by the looks of it.
Yeah, we were just talking about those guys.
Just talking about the old grunter.
That's a nice one.
From the flat here, he's a beautiful little grunter.
There you go. He's a silver, hey, a spotted.
Yeah,
grunter,
oh there we go.
right?
Spat out a little bait fish. Yeah, so slightly smaller species, but still a bunch of fun. Pull really hard up here on the flats. Well,
that's what I love about flats fishing in this shallow water. You know, we've got a few brim to kick off. Now you've got a grunter.
Yep.
Who knows? We could be up for a flatty or a trev.
Yep.
That's the great thing about just throwing these big long casts, covering plenty of water, and we're looking for active fish like that guy. He belted it.
yeah, he really did. Pop that hook out. Oh yeah.
You're fishing another one of our flats favourites there.
Yep.
Jack. That's you can't go past rolling a 2.5 inch grubs over the flats, giving it a few twitches and shakes. Very good representation of a stack of different things, be it a bait fish, prawn, yeah, all sorts of things, worm, whatever on those flats.
Chuck that guy back. Right, tough conditions today, missing a few fish on that HeadlockZ HD, so I'm going to change over to that HeadlockZ Finesse and try and convert a few more of these fish on that lighter hook. So we'll snip this guy off and change over.
Yep,
there he is. Oh, nice swirl on that thing.
Yeah, I saw him eat it just below the surface too. So because we're fishing such shallow water, you really don't need to be on the bottom. These fish are cruising out of the creek.
Nice grunter.
He's a nice fish. These fish are cruising out across the flats.
Grab that net.
Feeding as the water drops.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Beauty. Oh, look at that. Trev, there's a Trev right up those bait fish. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nearly.
wild. Flats fishing. Love fishing the flats. So this is an area that's entirely out of the water at low tide. A mix of mud, sand, weed, rubble, so all sorts of things. And these fish, they love hunting in shallow water. It's less water for the bait fish to hide in and escape, so they can just chase them sideways and smash them up. So that's another nice handful of grunter. He'd be a legal fish if we wanted to feed. That's a spotted grunter or silver grunter, javelin fish. Up on the flats, really good fun, mixed in amongst the brim and the trevs. And that was pretty cool, then those bait fish getting stirred up by a trevally. So we've got brim, grunter, and we've seen a trev, so fingers crossed we can find one. All right, that little fine wire hook finding the mark in that grunter. You can hear why he's called the grunter, he's pretty fired up. That's another nice fish you'll find up on the flats. So, see you, mate. Caught a few on the little 2.5 inch prawns, one of my favourites. Might change it up to another favourite.
There we go.
Fish on.
There's a few angry fish up on top of here. What do we got here? Another nice grunter. Well, just because you've got average weather like this doesn't necessarily mean the fish aren't going to be angry. A lovely grunter.
Oh, he's a beautiful fish.
Yeah.
And how's this? You know, we've got low light, dirty water, so the fish aren't spooky at all.
No.
We're in, 80 centimetres of water and these fish are just smashing it.
Right, so I changed over to that HeadlockZ Finesse there, and that was first cast. Didn't miss that bite straight away. He's only just lip hooked there, so he's just nipping at that on that quick retrieve. So I think I'll manage to convert a few more fish now that I'm on that fine wire hook. Pop this hook out and keep going along. Right, it was pretty difficult to make that change. I was getting a bite nearly every cast, so it was hard to put that rod down and change over hooks, but I think it was worth it. First cast, got that next bite and sunk that hook perfectly. Oh yeah!
Yeah, almost on again. He's all over it, mate. Smashing it.
Righto. Next cast, next bite, and we sunk the hook again. Beautiful little brim. Pop that hook out and get back in there, because as soon as that thing landed, I got a bite. So chuck that guy back. See if we can do that again. Alright, just slowly moving along this flat, trying to find a few active fish. And we had that little bite there, so we'll stop and give this area a little bit of a go.
That's not a bad brimbo.
Nice little brim.
Not the net.
That's right, I'll just lift him up here. Oh, really subtle little bite, but he managed to put that down his gob, and that little HeadlockZ Finesse has pinned him well there. Pop that hook out. That is such a sharp little hook, straight into the bone of the top of his mouth there. Alright, pin him out there, chuck him back.
Oh!
There we go.
I was a bit late on that one. Lucky I got that fine wire hook, because he gave it a few rattles and he was off and on his way while I was still thinking about what I had for brekkie. There we go, nice little brim on the flats. We'll rip him off and send him back in. Only a baby, we've got to find ourselves a patch of bigger fish. So just a tip, when you are soft plastics fishing the flats, you'll often find the quality of fish varies across the flat depending on the structure that you're fishing and the area that you're fishing. So if we get onto a few small ones like this, we'll move a bit and find another area and see if we can find a better quality of fish or a different species of fish feeding on the flats. Because as much as these guys are good fun, they put a bend in the rod, we want to try and find a few bigger ones. See you, mate. All right, the water's dropped off the flats now, so we had a great start to the session with a bunch of brim and grunter, and now we've just moved in. We're looking for water movement now as the flats drain. So you might see in the background here, there's a beautiful edge here where the flats are draining down into a deeper section. You can see that water movement, that disorientates bait, it gives fish ambush points. So we're just going to pick our way along a few of these current lines and see if we can get ourselves a fish.
There we go.
There we go.
That is, well, took a little while, but there's a little flatty by the feel of it. No. What do we got? Big brim.
Big brimbo.
Yeah, I think. Tarwine.
Coming over that current line there.
I think it's a tarwine by the looks of it. It's a little bit unusual. Looks pretty tarwine-like. That is a big tarwine. Well,
that is a chunk of tarwine.
Well, something you see every day. I haven't caught a tarwine in years.
Beautiful silvery fish.
Yeah. Just fishing that edge for a flathead with that little curl tail, but not a lot of bait moving there, so pop this guy off and we'll carry on.
Oh,
yeah.
A brim that wants to be a snapper.
When's the last time you caught a tarwine that was that big?
Not for a while. I used to get a few over near the rocks, so just over that way.
Just stick your finger in his mouth, Justin. It looks really nice in there. Right. Wow.
Get
that is a completely different mouth to a brim, eh?
Get carried down.
See those back molars?
More reefy, eh?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, there we go. Nice work.
Oh, there. Just come along this edge now. Nice bit of water flowing off there. And there's our target for along there. Little flatty.
Oh, there we go.
Beautiful little guy. Just where you'd expect him to be, on that water running off that flat there, right on the edge. Beautiful little sandy colour guy. 4-inch StreakZ curly tail straight across the mouth there. Oi.
Perfect. Had a good little session up on the flats.
Yep.
bunch of brim and a bunch of grunter, and now we've moved out off the flats onto the edges, hunting for a few of these guys.
Yep. A little guy. Right, so the water's drained off the flat now. So still a little bit of water right on the edge there. So we're just fishing this main contour on the edge of the flat. As the last bit of water flows off, all of the bait's going to be there and the predators are just going to be sitting on that edge. So we're just working our way slowly up with this run out tide, fishing that little drop, and we'll see if we can find a few more fish.
Perfect. Right where he should have been, right in that pocket in the
Righto.
Beautiful.
I reckon we'll find a little patch of fish here.
He was sitting right in the patches of weed there. He's a nice fish there.
Yeah, nice floody.
Beautiful.
Nice fish. Exactly what we've come on this edge for.
And that's just making that cast right into the edge there, right in amongst that weed, and just popping it back out, hey?
That hook's popped off there. Lovely light colour fish right up on the sand there. Chuck him back.
So a lot of the time when you're fishing plastics, the key thing to consider is structure. So when we were up on the flats before, there you go, there's a nice patch on this edge. That looks a bit solid.
Ah, just a little racing snake, but he's a bit angry. He must have been sitting in that weed. He's a lot darker fish. Oh, I don't know what's happened with him there. We hooked him in the back.
There's a few of them in there. Yeah. Come on, in there.
He's just had a little swipe at that. Right, you said we'd catch 6 along here. I've got my 3.
You've got 3 in pretty quick time.
He's just swiped on that. Hooked him in the side. 4-inch StreakZ curly tail. You should try it.
We haven't even got to the smooth water yet. Imagine if we'd started up there and missed those 3
Imagine
fish.
if we'd just started here.
Yep.
There we go. Whee!
Yep.
That's a bit angrier. Right up in the shallows there, eh?
Right up in the, on the edge there. Yep.
Might need a net for that one.
He's not giant, but he certainly ate it nicely. So structure is king. Structure is what it's all about. A lot of the time we talk about structure, and when we were on the flats earlier, the structure that we were fishing was weed edges and rubble bottom and any sort of patches of sand and different structure. Now the water's draining off the flats and we're out on the edge here and we're chasing flatties, which is one of my favourite things to do. These guys love a soft plastic. Declan's been whacking a few on that 4-inch StreakZ curly tails, and I've got my favourite little 2.5-inch slim swims on here. And he has drilled that. That's that Houdini colour. A real nice natural colour, but with a bit of UV pop to it. And that's a beautiful eating size flathead. If you wanted to eat a flatty, we're going to send him back so that you guys can get stuck into it. But that's just putting our cast virtually on the bank, right up in there, and then hopping it out. And as we get into the weedier stuff, all about finding those pockets in the weed where it's sandy, get that lure in and just hop it back out. I'll get that lure off and send him back. So that's a 1/4 ounce 1/0 on that guy, and that's a 2.5-inch slim swim. So we were fishing a 1/8 up on the flats with the wind at our back for a big long cast. Now we're working the flow along the edges, so we need that bit more weight to get it down there and make sure we're bumping the bottom for these flathead. Right, let's get him off and send him. Making a cast into the edge there, so there's plenty of good structure along this edge. Basically what we're looking for, you may be able to pick it up there where we've got a weed, we've got another break, then we've got weed, we've got current lines here, we've got eddies forming, there's bait sitting in the back of there. So as we work our way along this edge, it's not just a static straight piece of structure. We're picking pockets, we're looking for breaks, we're looking for bait, we're looking for areas where the fish might be laying in ambush to eat that bait that we can see moving around. So we call it picking pockets a lot of the time when we're working these edges. We're looking for the pockets that hold the fish, the current breaks, the weed edges, the drop-offs. So just keep all that structure in mind when you're picking the edges.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Feels like an alright. Oh no! That felt like a good fish.
Was it a flatty?
Yeah. I'll have some sexy pennies in there if you want. There we go.
In the drain.
Right up in the shallows.
I know. Switched it up to the 3-inch minnows. Wanted a little bit more profile size and a bit bigger plastic in the wind so they see it. I don't know what I've got here.
Little flatty.
Little floaty out of the drain, eh? 3-inch minnows, always a good option. I went for a nice UV colour. It's dark and cloudy here, so not a big fish, but flatties love that 3-inch minnows. If I could only have one plastic for a flathead, it would be that 3-inch minnows. It's just a beautiful bait fish profile, nice paddle tail, plenty of movement. Only a little guy, but he was right up in the shallows there and he ate that virtually 2 turns of the handle and he was on it. So that's on a big eyes jig head there, 1/4 ounce 3/0. I really like that big eyes with the glow eye, especially in this dull conditions. So there you go, nice little flatty. We'll get him back in the water. He can grow up a bit bigger and you guys can get stuck into him. All right, that's been a fun little session on the higher stages of the tide up on the flats, dropping off to fish the edges. Now we're going to hit one of my favourite types of structure, which is a weedy drain. Drains often hold bait and in turn they hold fish. We've got a stack of rain coming on the radar, so we're just going to hit this to finish our day off and see if we can find ourselves a nice flathead. Buckle up. Yep.
There he is.
Yep. Oh, that is cranky. Oh, come out of there.
It's got some weight to it.
Oh, up in the drain. Don't bite me off. It's
What have you got? You got
it's
something
a
by
mud
the
crab.
You got something by the tail. As
Mud,
what?
mud crab.
Something by the tail.
Right, I'm just trying to see if I can get myself a stingray in the butt. Anyone can catch them in the mouth. Catching them in the side takes a little bit more skill. He was laying up in the drain waiting to ambush my plastic. Turns out I ambushed him. Oh, the skills.
It's quite a unique. I thought it was going to be really big.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid one when I hit it. They definitely feel pretty good when you hit them there. All right, that's how you don't hook a fish. But that's a nice flatty up in the drain. That's what we're looking for, but it's always more fun when you hook them in the mouth, that's for sure. Righto, we'll pop this plastic out of where it shouldn't be and we'll let this guy go. What a shocker. On.
Some little creature.
Not much action in the drain, so we've moved out to fish some deeper structure. And you will catch a bunch of them when you're fishing deeper structure.
A little bit of rubbly stuff down there.
The wind is howling. We're just about going to have to bail and beat the rain, but we thought we'd have a quick crack at some deep structure. We've got the live going here. We've seen some fish. There's some big fish down there. We just got to try and get something to eat other than that bite.
Mr. Moses.
A little bit better than a Moses.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, little Dewey.
Beautiful. This is not a giant fish, but this is a really cool fish. Come on, buddy. Oh.
There's a fucking net right there.
I don't know why I didn't help him.
There's a net right there. I'm like, he's grabbing it.
Why did I not just off? A little sweet lip. All sorts of things live in these sort of deeper, rubbly areas of the rivers. Little lipper there. There they go. Something rattling their way back in here. What do we got? Yeah, a nice little squire again. Hey, shot. Right on that legal size. Always after a bit of rain, a few of these guys turn up in the rivers. How? How did I not get one in there?
Are they still there?
Well, they're going too quick for us. Oh, how is the ledges and stuff down there? Oh. My God, there's some bait on this patch. There we go.
On.
Oh, you got a little bit of go to him. Oh, I love catching these little snapper in the creeks like this. They go so hard on top of this rubbly stuff. Another beautiful little fish. Another one right on that legal size, around that 35, 37 centimetre mark. Bunch of fun on that light gear. He's scuffed up my leader there. He's managed to get me in for a second. Beautiful little guy.
All right, folks, there you go. An absolute rubbish day on the water in terms of weather, but we managed to fish 3 different areas. We fished the flats, we fished edges, and then we fished some deeper structure. Brimp and grunter, flatties on the edges, finished off with a few pinkies, including a couple legal ones. One in the icebox for dinner for Sherry and I, so a pretty good day on the water considering
not ideal weather.
Not ideal weather, but you can still get out there and get stuck into a few fish. If you want some tips on fishing soft plastics, make sure you check out tackletactics.com.au. There's a learn to fish section on there, loaded with tips and techniques to get you hooked up. All the best with the fishing, we'll see you out there.